welcome to Desk Geek. I am so excited to show you guys this desktop. Look at it. The sunset, the beach. It's calm, relaxed. There's no chaos going on. All you're hearing is the waves crashing against the beach. Life is simple. And that to me, this picture, this wallpaper that's defaulted on MX-16, which is a Linux distribution based on Debian, Jessie 8, Xfce 4 desktop environment. It encapsulates what this distribution is all about. It's simple, there's no frills, it's relaxing, you're not going to get lost in it, and that's kind of the beauty of MX-16 as I see it. There are a few issues, and we'll go into those, but overall, I think they chose the perfect wallpaper for what they are representing with their distribution here. So why MX-16? Well, one of the viewers on my Manjaro video said they hated Manjaro, which I don't agree with that. I love Manjaro. It's my favorite distribution still. But they loved MX-16, so I thought, I got to go check this out and see what it's all about. And let me just show you guys here what DistroWatch has to say about this. Here. If we go here and look at MX, I thought a couple things were interesting. Number one, you can see that it's starting to gain in popularity. Obviously, there's a lot of others that, based on page ranks, have a lot more popularity right now. The last 12 months, MX isn't doing too bad here. Let's see if I can find it again. Where are you at, MX? Here it is. So for 12 months, it's down to 43. But very recently, obviously, it's climbed higher. It's getting a lot more hits. But they call it MX Linux, a desktop-oriented Linux distribution based on Debian stable branch. Is a cooperation venture between the antiX and former MEPIS Linux communities using Xfce as the default desktop. It is a midway operating system, as they describe it, decided to combine an elegant and efficient desktop with simple configuration, high stability, solid performance, and medium-sized footprint. Which I think all of that are very fair statements to say about MX. So, what are some things that I love about this? Well, number one, I'm a fan of Debian-based distributions. The main reason being that's where I started, and I'm very familiar with Debian-based distributions and aptitude specifically. Also, as far as the installers go, to me, they're some of the best written, most intuitive installers on any distro out there, especially if you compare it to something like Manjaro or even Arch, where the installers can get really complicated. I think Debian's typically with their distributions, when you have a Debian-based distribution, you're going to have a very intuitive installer. My experience, and as you guys know, I'm fairly new to the whole Linux world. I like that the dark themes are here. You'll see everything is dark, kind of the dark grays. If I was to pick themes for myself, if I stayed with a distro long enough to customize, I would probably go with these dark themes like this. So you do have the option of changing it to a light theme if you prefer that, and it's pretty easy to get into configurations and changes, but I really like that. Searchable apps via Whisper menu system. So recently was trying Ubuntu Mate based on some conversations and things that I had, and I one of the first things, the menu system in Ubuntu Mate just totally made me not put a bad taste in my mouth. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Because when you go to and you open a menu system and you start typing for something, you expect that to, in a modern OS, for it to just start searching for what you're finding. And like in Ubuntu Mate, you have to download a tool called Synapse. At least that was the workaround that I could find to do app searching. Otherwise, there was no search option. You could type, but it didn't do anything. And I think in a modern OS, that's just not acceptable. So I love the fact that they had that there. I didn't know that would be such a neat feature, but based on, again, playing with Ubuntu Mate, that's definitely something that I loved as soon as I started it. That's one of the first things I did was go to the menu and type in to see if the apps were actually searchable there. You also got a nice system here. You've got your file system, which is based on Thunar. I love that it automatically, by default, will show you the samples of the pictures themselves versus you having to go in the menu system and say, show the icons. or the pictures within the icons. Because I deal with a lot of pictures and videos, this is kind of important to me. And that feature extends to other hard drives and network connected devices as well, which I thought was really, really cool. Let's see, the Xfce desktop environment, very no frills to me in this desktop environment at all. You're not getting a bunch of fancy, icon sets or there's just it's just very simple. That's the best way to put it. So I like Xfce a lot. We talked about the installation, Open Mixer. So here is your sound options here, and I love this very intuitive, simple configuration for your sound. This is very important with me because I have a DAC USB based amp, and I have a DBX 286S connected to a Focusrite, and I also have external speakers. So all of this, I have a lot of audio equipment hooked up to a computer, and I want it all to function and work appropriately. And Mixer allowed me to very quickly be able to go in there and configure my default items. And this sounds like, well, doesn't every distribution allow that? Some I find a lot more complex than others. This one was very intuitive. You've got your recording, your output, your input devices, your configuration, and your playback for applications that are currently running. That you can choose what sound volumes and everything else that you want to go through. So it was very easy to set up and get this ready for OBS right out of the box, which I liked a lot. Printer setup. Printer setup is another one of those things where in Manjaro it was like going and getting a root canal. I love Manjaro, but printer setup was not a simple task. Once I found the web browser cups version of printer setup, it worked pretty quickly, but the actual printer setup that was local would not work at all. Within this desktop, however, it was a few seconds. Just add printer. It found it right away, chose it. Print test page worked right away. It was perfect. So printer setup super easy. This has a fantastic manual with it. Again, much like everything you're going to see in this distro, very simple. You don't get tons of graphics and things, although there are links to very well made videos out there on different things that you can that they're talking about within the manual or that you can do. But everything is very simple. They very much focus on the user experience, and you can see that throughout this distribution through and through. Thunar, the file manager, the ability to access root via the GUI. So I thought this was really cool. So if I wanted to run something as root or access something as root, you have all these options here. Open terminal here, open root Thunar here, which is awesome. Ownership to root, ownership to user, find files. So you can change a lot of things right here to make you working within MX-16 very simple and quick. And I liked that. That was very intuitive in my opinion. You also get Synaptic Package Manager pre-installed. So if you like using Synaptic, you will have that. My issue with Synaptic is while it does make things easier, it tends to always have older versions of programs, and that specifically becomes an issue with things like Kdenlive and OpenShot with me, which the versions are so far behind on Synaptic Manager that you're losing a lot of important features when you're doing video editing and things. So, but you can always, of course, go down and download the package on their actual sites. Most third-party sites that port their software to Linux are going to have a Debian-based version out there just because of the popularity, of course. And dislikes here. This one's kind of one that I would expect the developers would be trying to fix pretty quick. There's something called X Screensaver that's pre-installed. And even when you boot into MX-16, you're going to see this thing pop up, this gray, I don't know, Windows 3.11 looking box. And it's going to say, you have an old version of X Screen. And then it actually says in there that if you're seeing this upon installation of a distribution, then your distribution is not doing its user base any services. So it's almost like putting down the distribution because it has this older version. And I guess that's probably because so many distributions have left it old, MX-16 being one of those. Now, of course, as soon as you go in there and do your updates, it's going to update X Screensaver. But I thought that was kind of janky that pops up still, and hoping that they get that fixed pretty quick. Not a big deal. It's just janky. And it also causes issues during installation. If you pause too long, the whole screen goes black. So the screensaver doesn't even work, and all you see is your mouse. And for a second, I actually thought I had crashed. But when I moved my mouse, the screen came back. So does have some functionality impact there as well. Dual monitors did not work until I installed the NVIDIA proprietary drivers in there, but they do have very easy access to installing the NVIDIA drivers. You literally just type it in, and you can just click install proprietary NVIDIA driver from repo. So as soon as you start typing NVIDIA, it's there, so you can get your drivers up and running pretty quickly. The biggest problem I have with this distribution, the thing that would keep me from utilizing it full time, is the fact that it does not, or in my case, did not have NVMe M2 support. So I have an NVMe PCI Express um, hard drive, and it does not recognize it in the installer. Now I can go into gparted during the installer, and it would see it right there. It would list it there. I could mess with partitions, format it, whatever. But once you go back to the installer, it would not list that NVMe drive there. It didn't exist in its world, and nothing I could do or thought to play with, trying different types of file system formats, etc., would allow me to see that drive again. Gparted could see it. Obviously, my BIOS could see it, but MX-16 could not. And I'm not the only person that ran into that issue in searching this. There were a few others. Somebody had developed some type of package installer that would allow you to get around the issue, but I didn't really trust that. So to me, that's a major issue. If you're looking at installing a distribution on the latest and greatest hardware, NVMe is coming more and more popular, and should be something that is, recognizable during the installation. So that's one of the biggest issues. Also, the MX package manager doesn't seem to be working. Like, it just suddenly stopped even after a reboot. And I'm not sure if it's just me not doing something right or not. But if we go here to MX package installer, and it says things you already installed should be grayed out. If I type GIMP or anything, nothing happens. So the package installer, which, I mean, for me, I'm very comfortable in the terminal with aptitude, so that's not a problem. But I could see, as a new user trying to use this, that would be pretty frustrating. Not sure why it doesn't work. Again, it could be something that's configuration side, or something I don't know about the distribution you're supposed to select or do. But either way, it's not intuitive. And so I think that's kind of an issue. Let's look at some of the pre-installed software that comes here. Everything in the menu system, very intuitive. Under accessories, you've got your archive manager, bulk rename, catfish, clipman, um, greeters, app notifiers, notes. Of course, you have ability to put sticky notes on your desktop, something you may be familiar with if you're a Windows user. A lot of distributions have this now, but it's kind of a cool thing to utilize if you're a sticky note fan. Sensor views, task managers, of course, Thunar file manager, Vim, ability to CD and burning applications there, some education. You've got a couple of games. I installed Steam. That's not default, but Steam plays beautifully, and I'll show you gaming in this distribution in a minute. And by the way, Payday 2 is free today. The day I uploaded this video, it's free on Steam right now. It plays great in Linux, so go check it out. GIMP, that was pre-installed. Of course, LibreOffice, Mirage. You get Firefox, of course, HexChat, Thunderbird Mail, Transmission. Zoom is something I installed after the fact. CD Rippers, Kdenlive I installed, and OBS I installed, so those aren't default. SMTube, VLC. So you've got a bunch of free software here that you can play with, and there's lots of software, of course, you can get out there. Packages available. So all in all, fantastic. There's a couple of things that I mentioned that need to be fixed, but really, like when I show you gaming here, most everything works beautifully. You're not getting pop-ups with errors or anything else occurring on this. It seems to be a very stable iteration, and I think it's very gorgeous. I think it's a gorgeous installation. You've got, of course, your eject here. You've got, looks like some battery indicator, your volume we talked about, your Ethernet or wireless connections, Clipman, and this is where you would click to install your updates. And interesting, okay, so this goes into Synaptic right away because I was saying it filled out, but this is different than the MX Package Manager. So you can do that to get your updates. This box will change colors and let you know that an update is due. And of course, you have your file manager here. So ultimately beautiful. But how does a game? Well, let's check out Payday 2 since that's free today. I think that's, yeah, no problem. What's up, guys? Just walking around, having a little smoke break. So you got your little bottle of spray there. Nice to meet you. Hello. Hi. No. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna walk in the office. I think she's the hired muscle. You're smoking in the kitchen? People eat here. What's wrong with you? He's cleaning up blood stains. Well. Okay, it's not working very well. How do I crouch or anything?
Get your game face on, buddies.
Uh, good job. Um,
This is more my style.
Dang, you take a lot of bullets.
And down they go. Okay, I'm betting the cocaine is in that safe, so it's time to drill.
Oh, nice. We got this.
Take a look around the office while we wait for the drill. Might be some other loot we can take. Keep your hands up.
Um,
Fuck yeah, this is mine.
he's excited. I ain't scared of no popo.
Shit, this drill is jammed. Deja vu.
Don't you come up here, coppers. Don't you come up here, coppers, see? Alright. What's going on with our Dremel here? Are you serious? What a piece of junk. Where'd we get this piece of junk?
The cops arrived faster than I expected. Take him down. It's all part of the job, isn't it?
I don't see any cops. I hear guns. Oh, there you are.
The cops brought in a sniper. He's in the building across the street. Take your aim and take him out.
Is that the sniper?
Civilians right now.
I think that was just a girl looking out the window.
Nice job, Dallas. Now, get the
Oh,
cocaine.
okay.
Back to the van.
Yeah,
All work here is done.
that was all me.
Shit! There's pigs everywhere. I'm gonna need to shoot my way out.
Well, I shot my way in. So, how do we get out of here, guys? We're already lost. You got nothing on me, folks. What?
That's it. You made it. Throw the coke in the van and let's go. of cake.
You guys see that skill?
You I can still play this game, right, Bane?
Mad skill right there. You can see games very well. No problems with Payday 2. Looks like a very fun game. Free on Steam today. Go check it out. Absolutely worth checking out. So, that should give you all you need to know about MX-16. Very cool distribution. Definitely worth checking out. Leave your comments below. Let me know if you've tried it, some issues you've ran into, some things I may have said wrong or not used in the right order, things I need to check out. Let me know. And until next time, get out there and fill your brains.
Don't get subscribed. Thumbs up like the video.